my dear YouTube reviewers. Welcome to Alpha Omega Wolf Productions, where today we will be covering the very first Jurassic Park movie.
It's a dinosaur. Look at Thank you. Somebody gets it.
Okay,
So where do we begin?
So I think it's safe to say I think a lot of people will know like what the general story of Jurassic Park is. Basically, there's these a group of people. They're flying to this theme park that's run by that's that has a bunch of dinosaurs on display, but something goes wrong and the dinosaurs are running loose.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. There are some tropes. I looked at TV tropes in the movie months ago. There are certain tropes in this movie that are related directly to that plot line, and y'all would probably notice them too the first time you see this movie.
One thing I want to say is this is our second time trying to record this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my Zoom crashed.
Yeah, we had Anna in the original video, but
oh
she
my gosh,
this
yeah, mine just crashed. I was there for the first one. I was just drawing as I was watching it because you know what, I got ADHD and I'm an artist, so that's like certain kind of energy.
Same here.
Yeah.
So I think what can we say about the original Jurassic Park that hasn't been said already? I think one of the things we can talk about. Sorry, Patrick, go ahead.
So other than the fact that the first was always going to be the best, I think what's more interesting than the dinosaurs itself, than the actual premise, is the human characters we are introduced to.
Yes, I would agree, absolutely.
And not just that, but their wardrobe style and that complements their character introductions. The lawyer dressed up fine while clinging to his briefcase for dear life while being on a little raft being tugged in an environment that is unsuited for such an outfit. Our two main heroes, who are dressed appropriately for their fossil hunting, and the owner of Jurassic Park, who dresses similar but is clearly out of his depth because it's clean, it's polished. He's invading their personal space and taking out a champagne bottle.
He's British, I think. Also, yeah. So what you're saying, PB, which totally I support, is that costuming for each character's role is a little bit symbolic, maybe, of the role in the film. Is what you're saying, maybe? Which is totally a thing. I love a girl in khakis. Dude, my default, I'm like, if I would wear the exact same thing as her, and I'm like, yeah.
I love a guy in short shorts.
Because like I would have sometimes crystals on me. I'm like, if I'm chill, the dinos are chill. Ha.
Okay, so something I also want to add is that, and Anna brought this up in the first video, is that it starts out all whimsical and adventurous and wondrous, but once it gets around to the halfway point, it turns into horror.
Yes, exactly. I said that too.
Yeah.
And it actually turns into quite an adrenaline rush of action and adventure where you want to see these characters make it out of this park alive.
And as soon as they realize that, okay, we're not secure. Oh no, like something happens and it's like shipping me timbers.
What makes that work is that it's really slow paced during that whimsical part. It's Yeah, we looked at the timestamp and we were like, what, 45 minutes, an hour in?
And it was, I remember, like,
T-Rex?
Yeah, keeping note of that.
Yeah. That's what made the movie worked. It wasn't the premise of dinosaurs are attacking humans. It's, oh my god, this is so cool. Dinosaurs are among us. Wait a minute, isn't this a bad idea? Oh my god, the dinosaurs are loose. We gotta get the hell out of here.
Considering that we haven't totally, like, the US government isn't totally on board with CRISPR, says a lot about that in terms of, like, bioethics, because if you do anything artificially in a lab, there are regulations for that. And outside the US, as I've read, because I'm into, like, medicine sometimes, because I'm weird, I believe because of where the island would sit in modern times, it would be under the jurisdiction of some South American country for, like, biomedicine or something because of regulations about that, but, like,
they say it's in the
Okay, so looks like
Alexa froze.
Yeah, Alexa seems to be having some technical difficulties.
You kind of froze her, Alexa.
To be fair, also it's like my connection's unstable. Well, I got a cord for that.
Well, actually, when you guys mentioned about how it's kind of like slow, pace, I did want to bring up something that I thought was kind of interesting. I thought, like, when they first show the dinosaurs, not just like the T Rex or the Velociraptors, like when they showed the Brachiosaurus for the first time, or yeah, it was a Brachiosaurus, then I think that's when it really started to get interesting because I think we can all agree the special effects in the first movie are quite possibly amazing. Like, they have a great blend of CG and animatronics, and really, I'd say they're timeless. And I think the only movie in the franchise that actually came close to having effects as good as those was probably Jurassic World Dominion.
Yeah.
What I liked about them is that after seeing Evil Dead and the pandemic, it honestly, the effects kind of remind me a little, like, it's kind of like, kind of meta for the time, considering it was like the 90s, right? I was born in 95, so it's like they did good. They worked within the budget for the film, and they did like that kind of effect. I think is better than maybe what the other movies did, from what I can tell. That's just me.
Oh, another thing I noticed, Jessup, you said it was slow paced in the beginning, but our very first scene involves them trying to bring in the Velociraptors,
Oh
and
yeah,
it
that's
with
right.
one of the workers dying. We see one of them getting brutally slaughtered. So the
It was
whole
off screen though.
everything afterwards, that's the illusion. Just like Lauren Dern's character said. That's the illusion. You never had control. That fits perfectly with the
Like the
entire
whole
theme of the
thing of
movie.
philosophy about like
Yeah.
man versus
So
nature,
Patrick,
not
don't they say
nature
that
kind
guy
of thing.
did
Yeah.
survive?
Nature
No,
literally operates
no,
by
I
its
think
own
he
separate
died.
rules.
He
Each
was
species,
dragged
I
into
tend
the
to
cage
think, just
and they
has
weren't
its
able to
own
get him
rules.
out.
That are
Okay.
just,
I thought there was a line in there about that guy
No,
surviving or something.
no, the family was suing.
Right. That's what it was. That's what it was.
I think another thing that I wanted to mention, and I remember you guys saying this in the first recording of this, is like how John Hammond was seen as like kind of a psycho, like not knowing like the dangers
yes.
that like is going on. Which I rewatched it, and yeah, I can agree. Like he didn't fully understand like that he was like what's the correct term I'm going with here?
He was kind
He was
of so
delusional. He was a bit reckless, impulsive.
Yeah.
callous.
Well, also remember this is also a adaptation of a book.
Yeah.
I will admit I have not read the book all the way through, but I've read bits and pieces.
I
And
didn't
in the
even know there
book,
was a book until a few years ago.
John Hammond is actually kind of not a nice guy. He's pretty mean,
Heard that too.
selfish. He's pretty dark. Kind of has a bit of a cynic too.
No,
At least based on what I've read. And I'm committing myself to actually reading the book all the way through someday.
But he's kind of a little bit amoral, Catholic.
Yeah. Do it. You read it in intervals, like 25-minute intervals each day, Jessup. You'll get through the book.
Yeah,
Quickly.
no, I've
Also,
got to
what
find a
I've
copy
heard
of them.
is
That's the
books
problem.
that it had a different, like, how the dinosaurs was different too, which
Yeah.
makes sense. I mean, considering that, yeah. Like,
actually, another thing I wanted to mention was quite possibly my favorite scene in the whole movie, and I think some people could agree with me on this, is when we're introduced to the T Rex for the first time.
Yeah,
That is
and
epic.
here's
Yeah, that famous
I
scene.
studied dinosaurs when I was little enough that apparently females could be greater than the males, apparently, in some species of T Rex.
Okay,
And they were good mothers. People probably, and then and then Sue came along, and it's like, well, there you go. Even a predator can be like a doting parent, right? That was kind of great. It was actually kind of groundbreaking because before people thought like T Rexes, I think were like,
okay.
So
also I just want to share. So I mentioned I'm people know me as a gamer, both video game and tabletop gamer.
yes.
There's one game I'm playing lately called Unmatched, which is kind of like the tabletop version of a fighting game. But the roster is made up of mostly public domain characters, but they've branched out into other media. And yes, they have a Jurassic Park expansion.
That makes sense.
We are not sponsored by them.
It almost looks like the How It Should Have Ended characters from.
Yes, and I saw them.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, but this artwork's pretty good. This expansion, there's only 2 expansions for Jurassic Park out now. We know we're getting Dr. Grant someday. We don't know when. But this set has the T-Rex, Will's favorite character, and Dr. Sattler.
Honestly, Sadler from Resident Evil. Here's the thing: if you're gonna have them in the same match,
Yeah. The other set has the Raptors and Muldoon. People kind of forget who Muldoon is, but Muldoon is that they say he's from Kenya, but he's like that hunter guy who's working for Hammond, the one who's eaten by the Raptors.
Oh, okay. I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, he has the famous line, "Clever girl."
Yes.
Yeah.
And like, here's the thing:
So, yeah,
Velociraptors are
these
shown
two
in the
expansions
movies
right now.
to be more intelligent. So it's like, no, they're social hunters, obviously. Like, hello, oh my god.
Well, actually,
I just want to open up and just show you something epic, Will.
Yeah, sure.
And I think this is what makes the T-Rex so great. So I'm going to pull out the little mini for the T-Rex.
Well, also while you're doing that,
look how big this is.
Okay, that's actually pretty cool.
And compared to Sattler, who's just a tiny figurine.
Oh yes, it makes sense to get bigger as they age, of course. Yeah.
That size is impressive, and given that this CGI for the dinosaurs,
that must have been
had to make them look this big.
Yeah. Layers of CGI.
And even in the shots where, for those who don't know, they did use animatronics for a couple scenes, like when you had close-ups of the dinosaurs. They had to make something this big compared to this, just the comparison size.
Which makes sense because when you get the scale, like I know for a fact, as someone who's into character modeling, so do it Hero Forge, but also not. I want to. They'd be still bigger than a human. Like explains like they could easily like snap you in two and just eat you like a kebab. Which makes sense. It's like the scale is actually at.
Yeah. Actually, I remember watching a video for it was like a YouTube short from the film theorists, and they said how a T-Rex couldn't actually eat a human.
Oh yeah, I saw that too. It's yeah.
So apparently, a
T-Rex. I've seen some other episodes. I don't think I've seen that one. I need to see that one.
I'll send it to you sometime.
When you think about it, I mean, it's like alternate reality. I mean, like when you think about it, T-Rex have a very, I think, but from a physiological standpoint, have a very interesting, I think, psychology and behavior pattern. And I mean, yeah, when you reach full-grown height, yes, but also keep in mind they were not immune to diseases that affected dinosaurs, including or parasites. So it's like, yes, but in reality, it's like wasn't easy being a wild dinosaur because just even reaching like must have been like a milestone for them. Think about it.
Well, the other thing I wanted to mention is that apparently a T-Rex needs a daily intake of 200,000 calories.
Yes.
A human only has 125,000 calories.
I think that's called Newton's law.
Now here's a question.
Dynamics. The bigger the organism, the more is produced with the metabolism rate.
Right. Sorry, Joseph, what were you gonna say?
I don't mind suspending that for the movie, but raptors would probably eat a human if they could, because
and also they're kind of like hyenas, right? Like if they're in groups, that means that like everybody like there's a pecking order. No.
Well, also one thing I've noticed about raptors and the T-Rex is that the T-Rex is more of an element of surprise.
Yes.
They want to ambush. Meanwhile, the raptors want to or more of a pursuer than like a
and
T-Rex.
Also, if you think about it, much like if you've ever seen like BBC's Nature, the when they go for young dinosaurs, much like I think modern lions do in the Serengeti, but also I think weakened and sick individuals make sense. But I think honestly, if they were real, if we managed to somehow create them in real life in our time, it's like you'd still have to consider that they're social hunters. Like they meat eaters, they can eat you, but they don't have the same ethics. So it's like that applies with hunting, I imagine.
Okay. Any other thoughts?
I do want to mention like this is around the ending because like after like a huge adrenaline rush of like characters dodging dinosaurs and like just trying to survive, it's actually pretty quiet and like kind of calming, and the music by John Williams really like
yes
his music for each scene really sets the mood, I say. That's pretty much what I have to say.
And also, John Williams is
it's
really good
the theme is used initially as an introduction to dinosaurs. Like dinosaurs are awesome, but as the credits are rolling and they're escaping and they're watching the birds fly out, it's the music goes from dinosaurs are awesome to life itself is awesome.
Right, and that we shouldn't mess with nature as it is.
Yeah.
I think honestly that'll be an argument in the future when we just cover like we start like recreating in lab 16 games. Which we
Okay.
obviously
So I think we should wrap this up.
Yeah.
All right. So, Jessup, do you want to quickly give us a preview of what we're going to do next time?
Oh yes. I don't know how to do that without taking my clothes off.
Oh no!
Magic Mike.
Oh
What?
no, that would be even worse.
Why
For the
not?
record, we're
Honestly,
doing
it's
Captain
it's funny.
Underpants.
We're gonna review Captain Underpants. Yes.
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 My new students, read those books a lot, and I realized that remember there was a movie, so we're just gonna check out the movie, see if it was any good.
Okay.
Make sure we don't brainwash you, okay? We don't want another
I
Captain
literally
Underpants
have fun
being
memories of
arrested
third grade at
for
third weather reading Captain
public
Underpants,
indecent.
and I'm like, yeah, it's time to run into the whole thing.
But on top of that, we have a little challenge for ourselves.
Yes.
Oh.
Which can we share the challenge?
We can. Yeah.
Okay. So, in one of the books, one of the villains gives everyone a new silly name, and there's a chart in the book that can tell people what their new silly name is. So we're going to be going by those silly names for that review, and we're just going to try to do as deadpan as possible.
Yep.
And we're going to make a challenge not to laugh.
As I remember, I think my name is something like Hamster Bottom or something.
Yeah, we'll
again.
double check all these. I've got the list on my phone. We will double check all these names before we shoot.
Dude, I am hyperactive. This will be a challenge.
All right. So until next time.
Next time.
No expense.
Hasta luego.
Never go.
Hello. Bye.